The man had just lifted the body of his first love when he suddenly froze in his tracks. His wife, whom he hadn't seen in 20 years, was watching him not far away. The woman was equally stunned. Why was her husband, who she'd long thought dead, here? The man knew the secret of his fake death could no longer be hidden. Overwhelmed with guilt, he set down his first love, who'd died in a car crash, and without hesitation walked toward his wife, whose car was about to explode. Finally, the woman asked the question that had plagued her for 20 years. Why hadn't he died? And who was the person he'd been holding? The man did not answer directly, but said that if he could live his life again, he hoped they had never met. Then he lifted her up and rushed out of the car. Just as the explosion hit, he shielded her tightly with his body, trying to make up for the 20 years of regret he owed her. But the next second, the woman suddenly jolted awake. Looking at her husband beside her, who hadn't yet faked his death, she realized in shock that she'd been reborn 20 years in the past. Watching him take such meticulous care of her now, she made a silent vow. She would find out why he'd faked his death and deceived her in her previous life, and she'd uncover the truth about that suspicious woman. Just as she was wondering where to start her investigation, that very day she not only met that woman but also witnessed her husband's intimate gestures with her first hand. She'd long had her suspicions, and now they were confirmed. In this life, she decided to fake her own death before he could let him feel the pain of losing a loved one too. That night, she told her mother to send a private jet to pick her up in 3 days and to stage a plane crash. The next day was their 7th wedding anniversary. She'd wanted to spend one last anniversary with him before leaving, but it wasn't long before the calculating woman came running in tears, throwing herself into the man's arms. She sobbed that his uncle had tried to assault her. The man immediately pulled her tightly into his arms, filled with pity. Their relationship was obvious to everyone, only she became the laughingstock of the crowd. A friend couldn't stand to watch and told him not to go too far, but the man was dead set on being with his first love and even planned to fake his own death. The woman heard his fake death plan with her own ears, and she completely lost all hope in him. Maybe, she thought, if he knew she'd be gone tomorrow, he'd be happy about it. She returned to their empty house and couldn't help but recall what it was like when they first bought it. Back then, he'd promised to give her the best of everything in the world, but now this place was just a cold, empty shell. After one last look at the house where she'd lived for 7 years, she resolutely set off on her journey away. Meanwhile, the man and the calculating woman were sitting in front of the TV when a breaking news alert suddenly cut in. Breaking news, at 10:32 a.m., a private jet departing from Jiangqing crashed in international waters. The plane was destroyed and all on board were killed, including the female chairman of Fuji Group. Hearing the news of his wife's accident, the man completely panicked and froze in place. His mind was flooded with memories of their sweet times together. He finally realized he'd lost the most important thing in his life, but his first love interrupted his thoughts. She insisted this must be the woman's way of retreating to advance. For a spoiled young lady like her, destroying a private jet was nothing. The man, who'd just been overcome with sorrow, suddenly flew into a rage. He suspected she'd only found out about his relationship with his first love and was deliberately staging this drama to make him regret it. He vowed that when he saw her again, he'd confront her sharply. At that moment, his assistant brought in a document. When the man opened it, he found it was a divorce agreement. His first love quickly explained that this was all the woman's scheme, and the man readily believed her. He furiously threw the divorce agreement to the ground. But then the first love hatched another plan. She tried to persuade him to sign the agreement anyway. "See what other tricks she has up her sleeve," she said, "then we can be together openly." But even though he was furious, his hand trembled as he picked up the pen. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't sign.